take a look at the top 10 announcements made by the Prime Minister during his joint statement with the Slovak Prime Minister. A slew of key memorandums of understandings also signed, and key areas of cooperations discussed between the two leaders. Firstly, of course, India-Slovakia elevate ties to a comprehensive partnership status. So that is, of course, the first major step taken. Both sides agree to expand defense and strategic cooperation. Defense emerged as a key area of discussion between the two leaders. Focus on advanced technologies including AI, semiconductors and digital systems. Of course, technology, another area of historic cooperation between India and Slovakia. Boosts to trade, investment and industrial collaboration across key sectors. Trade, of course, the Prime Minister also made reference to the India-EU FTA signed earlier this year as well. Agreement to deepen cooperation in nuclear and renewable energy. Energy sector, another big announcement made by the Prime Minister with discussions held from the both sides. Joint push for collaboration in manufacturing, automobiles and innovation. Both the Slovak Prime Minister and Prime Minister Modi stated that automobile has historically been a key area of cooperation for both nations. So, of course, a joint push for manufacturing with regards to that as well. Space technology and future-ready industries identified as priority areas. The Prime Minister spoke about India's space sector and the massive push being made on that as well, and how that can also be an area of cooperation. We'd earlier seen that ISRO was in fact the the one to launch the first Slovak satellite into space. So moving forward as well, space technology could be a major area of focus. Both countries to strengthen education, skills and research partnerships, with people-to-people ties also emerging as an area of discussion. They're now moving to strengthen education, skills and research partnerships is what the Prime Minister also stated during the joint statement. Greater people-to-people contacts, tourism and mobility facilitation planned, of course, with the Slovak Prime Minister calling India a key partner due to being the largest populated country and the 5th largest economies. People-to-people contacts emerges as a major area of cooperation between the two nations, with discussions held on the same. India and Slovakia reaffirm coordination on regional and global issues. Of course, the Prime Minister also spoke about the ongoing situation in West Asia, and both of them held discussions on that as well, also making reference to international institutions and the need for reform over there as well. So those, of course, are the key areas, the key announcement that have been made by the Prime Minister in his discussion with his Slovak counterpart. For further discussion on the same, I have with me Ambassador Sushil Singhar, former diplomat, Malika Pandey, Foreign Affairs expert, Major General Sudhakarji, geopolitical and defense expert, and Sanjeev Srivastava, Foreign Affairs expert, joining me on the broadcast. Firstly, of course, Ambassador Singhal, I would like to go to you and ask you, a lot has been made about this visit, the first visit ever by an Indian Prime Minister. Now, especially with these key announcements made, how do you see, the long-term impact of this visit, specifically if we speak about India's engagement with the European Union as a whole?
Well, this is certainly a landmark visit, the Prime Minister himself admitted, because this is the first ever visit by an Indian Prime Minister since the independence of Slovakia. And when we see the last few years, in the last 1 year, there has been a rapid exchange of the high-level visit. Our president visited, and their president also visited, and now the Prime Minister visited, which clearly shows that India is emphasizing on close relationship with the countries in Europe, and particularly Central Europe. And the way this relationship has been upgraded to a comprehensive partnership shows the desire and willingness on the both sides to provide an institutional framework to this relationship. And when we're talking the bilateral trade, in the last 3 years, it has gone from 800 billion to 1.6 billion. So certainly there are some synergies. That's why the trade is expanding so fast. And we have invested quite a good amount of money, particularly to the Tatas. When they have this Jaguar and Range Rover plants there, and also OEM. So we have a major stake already in Slovakia, and the announcement which has been made, as you pointed out, are on the I would say on that, for me, an expected line, because I was expecting the defense and strategic, automobile, advanced technology, and renewable energy, nuclear, because nuclear they are a leader, and India is looking for partners in the nuclear energy, particularly in the private sector. So what I see is going to be a quantum jump in our relationship with countries like Slovakia. It may not grab much of head, but this is a very significant step, and it's a part of our strategy, in my view. It's a step in that direction, because what we are looking for is the partnership across the Europe, not no longer just limiting ourselves to major partners. We are going to the countries specifically in Europe for specific partnerships in areas where they have an edge, like automobiles. This Slovakia is a leader in, and we will be we are looking for this partnership. We want to expand our footprints. Similarly, nuclear, as I mentioned, defense, and AI, and advanced material. We are not only looking at the technology, we are talking of the research also together. So what I see is that, and of course the European Union, because European Union, and Slovakia is an important player in European Union, and they have always supported us. So I think we are going to use Slovakia as a stepping stone into Central Europe and Europe at large. So, because they are also willing, we have provided a very large market and skilled manpower. So, I think it's a win-win situation for both sides, and that is what has been reflected in the statement or the discussion which has taken. Thank you.
Absolutely. Sir, Mr. Sanjeev Srivastava, Foreign Affairs expert, also with us. So, as Ambassador Singhal also mentioned, now that we've signed this mother of all deals with the European Union, there is increased cooperation from both sides. It was mentioned by the Prime Minister himself as well. Do you think that this is a way for India to show that, it cares about the European bloc as whole, going beyond the traditional capitals of, say, London, Berlin, or Paris? So where are we now also showing our focus towards the European bloc as a whole?
Yes, certainly. And as Ambassador Singhal sir has very insightfully elaborated the entire spectrum of this relationship. And obviously, India wants to give its attention not only to certain prominent capitals of Europe or certain prominent countries of Europe, but all Europe is India's focus. And that is what the message is being given to the entire European bloc, that we give importance to entire European Union as a whole, entire Europe as a continent, for our relationship to further grow. And India knows the significance of our relationship with the European Union, and the kind of scenarios are emerging in the international community, and the way United States of America has conducted its foreign policy in recent times, particularly during the years of President Trump, be it first term or second term, but particularly in the second term, obviously President Trump's foreign policy has been quite different, and it has given some shocks not only to India but also to Europe. And both the nations, both the European bloc and as well as India, they are looking for diversifying their entire foreign policy approaches, and they are looking for new partners. Obviously, they are looking for partners based on our shared democratic values, shared interests, shared opportunities, shared challenges. And Europe has all such credentials for India to have a robust relationship. What India is aspiring and looking for to have a stable world order, and to also secure its own interest. And Europe is a very suitable partner for India. And though our relationship with the United States of America will continue, and it is a close relationship, I must admit here. But having said that, there is no doubt that by exercising its strategic autonomy totally and fully, India is also exploring new, avenues and possibilities, and wants to deepen its ties with the European countries. And when you talk about European countries as a whole, Slovakia is having a very significant role, a distinct role. For the first time, any of our prime ministers have visited since it got independence on January 1st, 1993. But even if you look at the previous history, Czechoslovakia, with that country, we have had our relationship. It got established in 1921 with Czechoslovakia, but yes, it's a new reality that Czech and Republic and Slovakia is a different country now. And with both the nations, we are going to maintain a very good and robust ties. And I believe that there are enormous potential, economic potential for both the countries to untap. And this economic relationship is growing in last 1 year. It has, the bilateral trade has gone up to 1.6 billion and more. So I think there are several areas of cooperation. Automobile is one of the key sectors where India-Slovakia relationship has a very vast potential. Tata Jaguar, the base is there. Obviously, our President, Honorable W. Murmuji, he visited last year to Slovakia, and now our Prime Minister has gone, and their leadership has also visited here. So I think the relationship between India and Slovakia is going to have a big jump, quite a big leap, and a big higher trajectory this relationship is going to attain. That is for sure. And I think I see a very bright future for this very significant and distinct and a special India-Slovakia relationship.
Absolutely. So Major General Sudhakarji with us as well. So a special mention was made to historic ties of defense and strategic ties between the two nations, and now emphasis has been laid on civil nuclear energy as well. How do you see this playing out between the two nations?
Good afternoon, Balvika. Thank you for taking me for your show, and very warm greetings to distinguished and esteemed co-panelists. We have to understand from the perspective of what is the national interest and where are we heading. By 2047, we wish to become a global power, or earlier than that, and want to reach a target of $30 trillion economy of our GDP, per capita income to go up from present level of $3,051 to a bracketed range of $14,000 to $20,000. The economy as of today in India is, if we go by the primary segments of services sector, agriculture and industry of manufacturing, we come to a conclusion that the manufacturing somehow has not taken off the way we wanted. Way back in 2014, we started Make in India with an aim to give a boost to manufacturing, which was around 16.9% of our total GDP. And we had set a target of 25% of our GDP should be reached by 2020. So lo and behold, we are in 2026. I am given to understand from the open sources that this has not taken off. Instead of going up to 25%, it has gone down to a very insignificant level of 15.4% or so. This is a very alarming indication, although at some places you will find at national level that manufacturing is being shown as 24%, 25%, which is incorrect. This is highly incorrect and inappropriate method of calculation. Unless we identify the problem, our issues with regard to unemployment, the youth bulge, then your technological prowess, geotechnology, growth in semiconductor, artificial intelligence, global capability centers, then you have unicorns, etc., will not be growing in the right direction. So towards that end, if we look at Slovakia on the map of Europe, we find that it dominates in all the things that India is deficient of in Central Europe. Firstly, it is a member of European Union and NATO. That has to be understood. So if we develop a partnership with this country, it provides us with a platform to give us a secondary kind of inroad into the European market and NATO market. Second thing, that this is a central place which is known for MRO. MRO is the repair organization for the aircrafts, which India has been trying to establish. Otherwise, our aircrafts serving inside the country and outside, whenever they touch India, any defect, they have to go to either Singapore or to Dubai, Middle East being what it is today, and Singapore being a little at a distance. India needs to have extensive and very, I would say, very comprehensive MRO facility. So this country, Slovakia, is known for its MRO capability worldwide. We need to capitalize on that. Third, I wish to highlight is that if India has to grow as a technological superpower, we need to focus on Atmanirbhar Bharat. Atmanirbhar Bharat goes again focuses on the manufacturing, and in the manufacturing, the core issue which India needs to factor is the qualification in STEM subject. So if you check up Slovakia, out of very little population in comparison to India, that it has 4.5 million or so, it has got close to 21% or more than 21% of its population overall who are qualified in STEM subject, and in comparison to maximum 1 to 2% of India's. Now coming to the main central issue of your question, the civil nuclear energy. 61 to 63% of the energy used by Slovakia is civil nuclear energy. Now, how can a small country of this size have 61 to 62% comparable with any other big countries, or maybe far better than other big countries, including USA and France? How can it sustain itself? This is a thing that India needs to carry forward. Now, this nuclear energy, when you compare with India, as on today, I think we are touching just about 3.2 or 3.3% of our total energy consumption. Now, out here, there are two different modules. So the smaller one and the bigger modules. So modular nuclear reactors. Now, these modular nuclear reactors, they will enable us to provide electricity and power to remote areas without being dependent on the primary or the main national grid. And also they being collapsible, transportable, they will be paying a very handsome dividends to achieve our green energy status or zero energy emission capability well before the timeline. So this is a very, very important factor. Last but not the least is Slovakia is also known for niche technology. Talk about semiconductor, artificial intelligence, data centers, talk about any other thing related to the niche technology, like our global capability centers have grown from 1800 to 2114 recently and has a potential to touch a figure of almost 3000 and more. They are all migrating to India from multiple countries.
Yes.
And this being a back office to data centers and all latest technological hubs, they will actually contribute significantly towards growth of the technology threshold of India. Last but not the least is the automobile hub. Slovakia is known as the automobile hub of not only Europe, the worldwide. And our automobile industries are coming up in a big way. So are the defense corridors. Slovakia will be able to extend facilities with regard to co-designing, co-development, co-production, co-deployment, research and development on not only the automobile industry, but also defense products, which can be done in keeping with the Atmanirbhar Bharat concept in mind. And also it will enable us to contribute towards our overall export mileage or the milestones that we envisage to reach a target of 50,000 crore rupees by 2029 or earlier than that. And also, as an adjunct to what I have said, our target of export we want to reach by 2030 is $2 trillion, a jump from $854 billion as of today, goods and services. And in order to reach that target, in keeping with all the turbulence that we are experiencing world over, be it pandemic, be it the Ukraine,
Yes.
Russia war, or the West Asia, Slovakia will actually help us to achieve this milestone in a significant manner. Back to you, Malvika.
Absolutely. So I would also like to talk about a very interesting aspect of the Prime Minister's speech, wherein he mentioned global institutions and the need for them to function in the 21st century reality. And this is right before heading for the G7 summit. And of course, we've seen other global leaders, whether it's Mark Carney, whether it's Macron, talk about the need for multilateralism when it comes to these global institutions. We also have Malika Pandey, Foreign Affairs expert, with us. Malika, how do you view this particular statement by the Prime Minister, especially in today's geopolitical scenario? How important is this message, and can we see this being platformed at the G7 as well?
Absolutely. Good evening, Malvika. I mean, our co-panelists spoke at length also about, this is in 3 decades, first time any Indian Prime Minister has set his foot on the Slovak soil, and there he spoke not only about, it's of course it's a historical diplomacy, but not only there were high level of exchanges which were happening not only on defense, automobile, but there was also one thing which I would like to speak about, a very powerful symbol where he was offered bread and salt, the traditional Slovak way, which is a centuries-old gesture which symbolizes, goodwill and friendship. So to strengthen that, and when he was welcomed by such warm gesture, he spoke at length about how it is important for all of us to build global institutions which are modern, which are sustainable, which are resilient in the global economy today. And Slovak has, we've steadily developed those relationships with Slovak over the past years. Not only that, Slovak helped us during Operation Ganga, where they sent us thousands of students during the Ukraine and Russia war were rescued by Slovak. Thousands of Indian students were rescued by them and sent back home in during Operation Ganga. And then we also see them condemning the Pahalgam attacks. They were the first European countries to condemn Pahalgam attacks. So Slovak in general has been very much, like Ambassador Sir even mentioned, that it's not only there's everyday headline about Slovak and India relationship, but they share deep ties. So talking about these global institutions will only further and deepen these ties, Malvika.
Absolutely, Malika. I would like to in fact thank all of our panelists for taking the time to join us and speak about this, what the Prime Minister himself has called a historic visit. With that, viewers, we will slip into a short break. We'll be right back.